welcome back to Cross Stitch the Globe. I'm Stephanie.
I'm Allison.
And this is a channel about cross stitch. Today is a Flosstube extra. We're going to be discussing not how is pretty easy, but we're going to be discussing tips and tricks for buying cross stitch supplies on eBay. This is something I like to do. This is not something you like.
I have not ever bought anything on eBay.
And I checked last night when I was putting together my notes for this. I've done it 31 times. Okay. So I buy cross stitch supplies on eBay more often than I buy like 1, 2, 3 Stitch or like Etsy. So I've learned a lot of good lessons. I've learned one hard lesson, and I've learned 30 great lessons and one disappointing lesson. And I thought it'd be fun to share because we talk sometimes about like, you know, I like to use vintage hoops, and I'm stitching like an out of print memorabilia, and like where do those things come from and how to do it in a way where you don't get scammed.
Yeah.
So the format we're going to do this in is a little different than normal because since this is something that I do all the time and Allison's not somebody who does.
I'm an inquiring mind. I want to know.
Yeah, and the thing you own off of eBay is something that I got you, but you want to be able to buy more of potentially in the future. Yeah. So what I thought is I have notes, and I thought I would just go through and explain the different steps, not like read them, but just like, and then you could ask questions and interrupt me. Okay. And that way she'll hopefully be standing in for you. If you have questions, hopefully they'll come to her. And then any other questions you have, just leave them in the comments. Yeah. What do the people in the future want to know?
I want to know.
Okay. So like I said, my experience buying cross stitch supplies on eBay is I have made 31 separate eBay cross stitch purchases. Now, when you shop at 1, 2, 3 Stitch or Etsy, you might put a few things in your cart. With eBay, you're more likely to buy a one-off because you're buying like from like, oh look, I'm getting an eBay notification right now.
Something important. Okay.
But I bought from like lots of different styles, and I've even bought multiple things from the same person, but you're less likely to
bulk buy
because unless they're selling things as a lot, you're not likely to win an auction within a timely manner from the same person on multiple items, or a lot of people don't even sell multiple items that you would want. So
does that mean you have to factor in shipping and every single?
Yes, and I mentioned that a lot. Okay. I mentioned shipping and taxes a lot. Okay, so what have I bought off of eBay? I haven't bought every kind of thing you might buy for cross stitch off eBay. Most of my purchases have been vintage hoops, like Princess and Duchess and one Queen hoop, which I have never talked about the Queen hoop before because I don't want to talk about it. I got a really good deal. I've told you about it.
How much? Okay, how much?
Well, we're not going to talk about that today, but I have. I've bought out of print memorabilia patterns, out of print cross stitch kits for you and me. And I've bought one tangentially related fiber arts item that I'm not prepared to talk about yet because we're going to do a video about it.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. Huh? Oh, right.
You're right. So I want to do a whole thing about it because I think millennial women will love it. But I don't want to go into that. But I bought 31 times, and one time was not great. Okay, what are the types of eBay sales? So people think of eBay as auctions, but actually there's 3 different kinds of sales on eBay that, or at least 3 different kinds of sales that I have used. There's traditional auctions where something goes up for sale and it goes to the highest bidder, and it's usually a 7 or 10 day auction. I think it can be 10 days, but usually by the time I see it, it's like 6 days. So I think 7 days is typical, but I have seen things for longer. Buy it now, where somebody just lists what they want for it, and they either give you the option to make a counter offer or not. And that's not there's no auction. It's just you either pay that price, or if they have they'll either say this is the price and then there's no ability to counter, or it will say this is the price or best offer, and then you have the ability to make an offer lower than that. And then there's hybrids. Some items go up for auction and have it buy it now auction. And so some people can go ahead and say, you know what, I'm just going to pay the buy it now price because I think I either want this, or I think it's going to go higher than that price, or I don't want to deal with the auction. So those are the 3 types of sales on eBay that I have done. I think they're the only kinds, but if there's another kind out there, I haven't done it. Any questions about the types of sales?
So buy it now, is that the most popular way that people are listing it, or or auctions?
I don't know
or
percentage.
More?
I think you're more likely to get a good deal or a bad deal in an auction. Like, I think you're more likely, if you're like disciplined auction person, to only pay your maximum price, to have time to think about it, and to be strategic. The buy it now prices look inflated.
They do.
For the most part, look inflated. I never buy it now unless I'm giving them an offer and they're telling me yes or no. And then if they say no, then, and they counter like within my price range. Cause like when I make an offer, I'm making like 40 to 50% lower than the asking. But like I have bought things at auction, on the auction for like half of what the buy it now price is listed at. And I'll talk about this. I talk about this in our Flosstubes all the time. I just bought this Princess Hoop for $25 plus shipping and taxes. It was like 32 or 33. The one list, there are two on there right now for buy it now at 60 and 55. Well, only the $55 listing lets you counter. I countered at 25 and said I just bought one at 25 and I really can't justify spending more than that. They said no. It still lists for sale. So I was like, well, it's been 10 days. Maybe they are realizing no one's going to pay $60 for it, or 55. So I went in and offered $28.50 because that with everything that would make it still under $40. So I was just not going to pay over $40 for it to get to my house.
Yeah.
And they countered with $50. So I will not be accepting that. But where at auction it was 25. But sometimes auctions pop off and then all of a sudden they're like higher. And I had one hybrid where I thought I was going to get the thing I wanted was listed at 25. The buy it now was listed at 10, the buy it now was 30. I thought I was gonna get it for lower than the buy it now, and someone bought the buy it now within 24 hours and it was gone.
Yeah, okay.
And that
was that risk.
So then the next time I paid more than I would have paid the first time if I just buy it now, because I was like, well, it didn't come up again for a few months. Now now I'm like, oh no, I want this. And so, and then, so anyway, so
okay.
Yeah, okay. Who sells on eBay? Like, who are these people that are selling? Now, the world of cross stitch is pretty small compared to like the world of like knitting or sewing or whatever. So a lot of times things that go up for auction on eBay, there are shops that specialize in cross stitch or people who only list things after they do like a lot of research and know what the value is. And then there are also people that are just like trying to get rid of a whole bunch of stuff from like their grandmother's house and they don't know what they have, or they don't have the time to figure out what they have, right? So some people who really know their prices and some people are a little bit wishful thinking but are willing to hold on to it in case, $55. Or some people just like, they just are listing things and they just want to get it out there. Sometimes you'll see like 10 memorabilia patterns go up for auction like all at once and they all end around like 10 minutes of each other. So it's like, okay, this is just some person. You can kind of tell by the prices, like if like a lot of times they'll start low and then sometimes those will pop off, but like a lot of times if they start lower, they'll stay a little bit lower. One of the ones that I brought that I just got actually today is this Cottage Garden Fairy, which is out of print memorabilia. And I got it for like $5 less than it normally goes for, so not that much less. But then the cool thing is I don't think this person is like I think this person inherited a bunch of cross stitch that they're getting rid of because they included like a marked up copy of the Sabrina pattern, you know, just for free, like, which is great. So all of a sudden this is worth, this was like an even better deal. And they listed this at $7.50 and I got it for their opening bid. And sometimes people, this is a pattern that is not a highly sought after pattern. I have it, but I've never paid, I paid $7.50 and $2 for it. Like it's not a highly sought after pattern, but you will see people put it up for like 40. So you never know exactly what someone's motives are, but you can go look and see what else they're selling to see like, is this a cross stitch person? Especially if they're doing like buy it nows. Like, do they know the value of the thing? Are they overvaluing it because they're just like hopeful, or they hear that something has value, but they don't really understand, like not every memorabilia that's out of print is valuable. So you've got like virtual estate junk sale types, garage sale types. Then you got resellers who know what they're selling and know they're gonna get that money. Vintage and secondhand stores who maybe like specialize in just like general stuff, but they know how to research what the prices should be. And then like people who bundle like things, just like
Just to get rid of it.
Like they might go, I've seen people where it looks like what they're doing is like buying the bead pack and the mirror and a fabric and a mirabilia pattern and then selling it for like a 20% markup just because it's like a kit, because mirabilias don't come kitted. So I think like they're creating kits or they're making bundles of things that have value to add to like that make it seem more valuable, and they're making it more convenient. And then needlework stores, I think some needlework stores, and I think I've seen like some dyers, like, well, there are some dyers who only sell on Facebook Marketplace, I think, and Facebook D-stash groups. I think there are some dyers who dye and sell
on
eBay instead of doing on Etsy.
Yeah.
All right, how to access eBay. You're gonna need the internet. I do prefer the laptop when I'm like researching stuff, because I can look at like 10 different things and be like, well, is it on Amazon? Is it on Walmart? But when you're actually like time to make your bid, because of when you want to bid, I do like having the app on my phone. Also, one time I got offered like money off if I bought something through the app and not through the website. So you never know like what kind of deals they'll be pushing. So laptop, desktop for personally, laptop, desktop for research, and app for like making the auction when you need to make the auction. Any questions about any of that?
No. Okay. Is the app pretty easy to use?
It's super easy to use. Yeah, it's very intuitive and it's also very quick. So like if you're trying to make a bid at the last second and you see go 4, 3 and you press it, it really will like go through. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Provided your internet works, which is obviously not there. Okay. So figuring out, let's say there's some, I don't personally go onto eBay to just like shop and like look at things. I tend to go on eBay being like, I want to look at vintage hoops. I don't do that as much anymore because I have kind of the collection I want, but I have a few that if I get an email from eBay that they have, then I'll go start the research process again.
So you can do alerts for things that you want.
Oh yeah, and I'll talk about that because it's like, that's the best part to me. Okay, so figure out what you want. Let's assume you know what you want. You want a specific pattern or like a specific piece of fabric or whatever. Like you need to know what the price of it is, so you know, because buy it nows are typically listed high, so you need to know that. And also auctions, so you can kind of get swept up in the moment and overpay. And I don't remember the name of the economic principle, but there is an economic principle that like if you win an auction, you've overpaid.
Oh, really?
Because it's like the actual value of it is whatever, slightly under what you paid. And I don't, it's like maybe like winner's curse or something. I was an econ minor in college. Well, I was a major until I decided not to finish it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. All right, so ignore when you're winning. Okay, so these are the tips for figuring out what a price should be on your item. Ignore the buy it now prices. Just assume they're insane, inflated, wild, a person's hopes and dreams, right? Especially if they're like asking, like if they have an option to make a better offer. But even if they don't, just ignore them. You might do a lot of research and find out one of those prices is good and go back and buy it. But assume off the bat that those prices are crazy and just ignore them. All right.
What if you don't want to deal with the hassle of checking? Has it gone up? Has it gone down? Did I win?
I think there's still a few things you should do, like before you buy that. Like, let's say you just want to buy it today and you see one's for sale. Unless, like, I did one time DM Allison because a pattern, like a copy of a mirabilia pattern went up for sale like crazy low. That was one I did not want to buy. I was like, if you want this, buy it right now.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew it was, it's one of the ones that just appeared on our most expensive patterns list, but for way under. So you should definitely, if you haven't watched that extra, our last extra that came out was what are the most expensive cross-stitch patterns. You should go check that video out because that was fun to record.
It was fun.
But one of those patterns went on sale for like $100. And if that isn't like a little tease of those patterns worth a lot more than, and it was like sale. $125. I was like, Allie, if you want to get it. And it wasn't one that she wanted. And I, when I went back to look, it was to see if I should tell someone else about it. It was already sold. So because eBay does email people alerts, and I probably should have just bought it and flipped it, but I didn't really have. It's not like, I don't mind if I have a pattern in my stash and I find out it's valuable and I don't want to stitch it selling it. But I'm not really wanting to buy things to sell them. Yeah. But like that, maybe I should have.
That's a whole different.
That's a different. Yeah. So okay. So if you have no idea what the true value of something is, I would assume, and unless it's something like that situation where you think it's way under and you found out about it from an alert, if you're just on there searching, like just on an afternoon searching, you didn't get it through an email. And if you're getting it through an email, I would hope you would already have a ballpark idea in your head of the value. But if you just like searching.
Well, that's probably a good tip. Before you put in a bid, know what your top is.
Oh, yeah. That's this whole section.
Know your top. Okay.
So this section is called determine your item's value / what you would be willing to pay.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of things that I would pay if I got them, that I would buy if I got them at a discount, that I would not buy for like their going market rate right now. Okay. So ignore the buy it now prices and give yourself like, say like, I'm going to do 10 minutes worth of research before I buy this. I can't imagine a situation where I would just go pay the buy it now price without at least doing a little bit of research, but to each their own, and some people's time is worth more than mine, like for sure. Okay. To determine what the value, search for the item and scroll down. It's under filters on the desktop, laptop. It's on the left in the column, and on the app, I think it's just you click filters and you want to click sold. Completed also will include sold, but will also include auctions where the item did not sell, which can give you information. But for me, I just tend to click sold. And you can see what that pattern sold for, or pattern or item or whatever sold for in the last 90 days. Now, if there wasn't one that sold, because it's if you're looking for something rare, that may not be helpful. And what I figured out yesterday that I had not known up to this point until I was researching the most expensive patterns is you can go into, and I'm totally blanking on the name, but if you pretend you're going to be a seller and you go to the seller research tool, which is called this. In my head, it's Trekkaroo, but I know that's not it at all. It's not that. It's not that at all. That's something totally different. So if you go find this tool and you pretend you're going to sell the item, they'll give you access to like a year's worth of data. And that's why I was able to look up like 2022 stuff for that patterns, because before I thought I could only look at 90 days.
Yeah.
So if your stuff hasn't sold in the last 90 days, you want to know like, well, what has it sold for in the last couple of years? Go into this tool and look it up and see what it sold for.
Cool.
Now, that will not tell you, obviously, if things have changed in the market. And sometimes things that sell so rarely, if there's a buy it now and it only sells once a year, you might be like, oh, well, that's an indicator that I don't want to hassle with this because I just want to buy it because it may not come up again for 6 months or whatever. Once you find your item, go through all the listings to see, sorry. Other places you should look for sales. Now you can go to the Facebook de-stash groups. There's a few of them. There's like, I'll list in the description, I'll link to the Facebook de-stash groups that I'm in, but they're hard to search but I would still just search like if there's a pattern or like a type of hoop or a type of fabric, whatever, I'd search for it and see what they have sold for in the past if it is sold in that group. It's hard because sometimes they'll just put all the information in pictures and they won't do any text, and so you're not going to get a complete view. But you might find a few instances where that thing has sold and figure out what, and those groups are full of experts. So you'll get a good idea of what it really is going for. Other places to look. Okay, first of all, this is gonna sound crazy, but search on 123 Stitch, because a lot of people, especially if like you're just finding, like you're like, oh, this out of print memorabilia, it's actually, you'll find out like a lot of them are not out of print. Like they will just put OOP HTF, out of print, hard to find, on every memorabilia pattern. And then sometimes they'll like try to sell them like they are out of print when they are not out of print. I see this on Winter Queen all the time. I see this on,
do they do that with Blackbird too?
They do with, yeah. So if you don't know for sure that something's out of print and you just saw it on eBay, go check and see if it is. Because if 123 Stitch has it, great. And then some people will sell memorabilia patterns for like $12 and it'll be like $16 on 123 Stitch, but by the time you factor in shipping, you're not getting that like a deal at all. But so just look on traditional cross stitch stores or like Everything Cross Stitch or Fat Quarter Shop. Look on Etsy, especially like some like kits and stuff will be for sale on Etsy. See if they, like I found vintage shoes on Etsy for less than I found them on eBay because it was like a vintage shop in Colorado that only had a few and didn't know what they had. And like, so I bought a vintage shoe on Etsy for $15 that would have been much more on eBay. So look on Etsy and then look on Amazon and Walmart, especially if you're looking for out of print kits and patterns, because a lot of times smaller sellers will list them there too. So for example, the reason you really want to do all this, I just got this on eBay for $25 plus shipping and everything. It was like 32 or 33. This is listed for sale on Amazon at $75.
It's so pretty.
I saw it on, I want to say the name is Victor Cross Stitch, or somebody stitched it, and I like saw it on Instagram and I got obsessed with it. This is listed on Amazon for $75. It's listed on Etsy for $40, no shipping, but with tax. And then it was listed as a buy it now on eBay for $35, and I think I offered $25. I don't remember the exact back and forth, but I got it for $25. They accepted my offer. Might have been listed for $45 and I asked $25. They accepted my offer, and so I got it for about $6 less than I would have got on Etsy, but $40 less than I would have got on Amazon. Because things that are out of print and vintage and old have market value, but then they also have people just being like, it's old, let's see what we can get. So look in a lot of places. I was so happy because I was able to get this within like 24 hours of deciding I really wanted it. Because I didn't like, I'd saved it, but I couldn't figure out what the name of the pattern was because the person on Instagram was Ukrainian, I think. Mm-hmm. So like, it didn't hit me that this is the actual name of the pattern. I was like, oh, your forest bird wreath. I just assumed it was like a weird translation. So anyway, that's my tale of like, look in all the places for the prices because you just really don't know. And also, so sometimes eBay is not the best place. Okay. So once you, and then you need to take into account taxes and shipping. I saw a Mirabilia out of print pattern that would have been a great price until I realized that the shipping was $19. And so they were hiding some of that price in the shipping. Also, sometimes things are shipped, especially in like the pattern world, from like Indonesia or South Korea or something, and that shipping is high.
Yeah.
At least that to get here would be high. Obviously to get other places wouldn't be. And then if you're looking for large items, like if you're trying to buy like a used stand or something where shipping would be expensive, you can look for local sellers. You can click the like local sellers who offer free pickup. Oh. So like if I was trying to find a used, I should actually do that, like Lowry stand within 25 miles of me and see if one pops up.
We should do that.
So that's all the information that you need to then decide what is your personal maximum price you would pay for that item. Okay. And like for me, I probably would not have bought it for $75, but I would have paid the $40 on Etsy, but I'm still glad I paid the $33 on eBay. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't be crying about paying $40 on Etsy. I'd probably be really upset if I paid $75 on Walmart or on Amazon, but who knows? Maybe not, because maybe I wouldn't even know what else was out there.
No, you do enough research, you would be like, oh.
I know, I would be really upset with myself. Especially because it's like, I'm probably definitely gonna, I'll use the threads, but I'm gonna be annoyed sorting them because it's a 1991 kit and I'm gonna get my own, I'm gonna use stash fabric. Yeah. So it's, you know, it's a kit, but really it's floss and a pattern.
And it's probably DMC.
Yeah. Oh, look for matching forest bird designs. They have I'm not going to do the stocking, because I'm doing my prairie schooler band sampler stockings, but that's cute.
That's great.
But the reason I really like this, is because one, stitched was so pretty, so much prettier than this, but also this little saying is so sweet. Okay. Once you decide what you're willing to pay for an item, then you have to go find the item to buy. Because it may be that you found it and sold, but there isn't one for sale or whatever. Because the first step is just like decide what you want to pay for it. Yeah. So if there's one for sale that is in the range you want to pay, for it, great. That's probably not the case. All right, you want to search for your item and you want to search for weird terms. Like think about search just straight up like Cottage Fairy Mirabilia, which is this pattern that I just bought. But you could also search for out of print Mirabilia, OOP Mirabilia. Like I have a bunch of, whenever I'm searching for stuff, I kind of just have a wide range of things. Cause sometimes the person won't include the most natural things you would think. Sometimes they won't include the word cross stitch or pattern. And it's just listed as Nora Corbett Bluebell. And it's just and they don't really know what they have. So do a lot of different searches to try to find it. Once you find your item, go through the listing really carefully. Make sure that the item is what you want based on the pictures and description, and that it is not a scam. Now, I didn't get scammed. I just, one time I bought a pattern that I thought was a real pattern. And then I really think it's, but like when I got it and it's not the right size for a Mirabilia pattern. It's possible it was like in a kit at some point, but I haven't found any evidence anywhere else that a pattern is looking like this. So I think it's a counterfeit. And so it's like, I didn't like destroy it, but I'm not like gonna start stitching it. I just kind of have it sitting there in my binder, like waiting for more information to come through. But I think I'm like 80% sure it's counterfeit. But I got the item as described. I just didn't know enough about the item at the time to know. And if I had complained, I don't know if they would have even gotten in trouble, because even though I think it's a copyright infringement, I don't know how eBay really handles like selling items that are copyright infringement. So
what are some red flags to look for?
Well, prices that are really low, like way too low, but not an auction. In tech, there's a lot more like empty box where the description is for the box and not for the item.
Yeah.
If you were trying to buy a kit, maybe it's for the pattern and not the kit, but that wouldn't really bother me if it was like a dimensions kit. But you would need to know, like, because I just get the DMC, but you need to know
what you're buying.
And also, we are very lucky that where we live, we have access to a lot of DMC, and it's very inexpensive. Yeah. DMC is twice as expensive in other places. So, like, we get DMC here is about 54 cents a skein, and there are 10 places that sell it within 15 minutes of our house. That is not typical for everyone. There are a lot of people for who that is their reality, and then there's a lot of people for whom it's like $1 a skein, and it would suck to kit up 70 of those as opposed to at 54 cents versus. But you want to know, am I getting the whole kit? Am I getting the the queen hoop I got it for like a lot less than it goes for, but I partially think it's because the inner hoop was replaced now with a Duchess hoop, because it looks slightly different. Doesn't bother me at all, and I don't think I overpay for if that's what it is, but I don't know if I could sell it for the $300 or $400 that they sometimes go for, based on the fact that it's not a felt lined inner hoop, and there's no way for me to figure out, like, is the inner hoop an original or is it from a different line by the same company? Like, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. Because I just want one. Yeah. To have it to stitch with. Yeah, and then but I knew going in, like, you just want to know, like, does this look right? Yeah. Then also, definitely don't trust things like out of print, hard to find. Like, any descriptors they have, like, go check other places to see if that makes sense for that item. Definitely don't buy anything just because it says out of print, because it might not be, and it doesn't mean it won't come back in stock either. And then check if the item's condition is better or worse than what you priced it for. So what I mean by that is, like, some patterns, especially like Mirabilia patterns, you've seen some of my Mirabilia patterns, the used ones, like, there are spots where it's hard to read. Yeah. If it was a sealed out of print Mirabilia pattern, you would know for sure you would not have that issue. Whereas, like, I literally bought a second copy of this one because it's a cheap one, instead of just asking for help. But I'm pretty sure in the group I could get help on the little circles where things are missing, but it's just easier to not deal with that. Yeah. And this it was an extra, it came with it, was so nice, but if I had paid for a Sabrina pattern and it was all marked up the way this one, I'll just, like, so this pattern was just included for free in the other pattern I bought, which was super sweet.
That was so nice.
But if it had come all marked up in blue and I didn't know that and I had paid money for it, that would be not good. Or if you were that might make something worth a lot less. But really, things not being opened in a world where, like, your pattern could get messed up would maybe change the value. Or I have some vintage hoops that have, like, splinters, and I've shown them on our Flosstube episodes where I have them washi taped, and it doesn't, to me, affect it, but it did affect the value that I was willing to pay for it. But it doesn't affect my enjoyment using it. Or, like, if I were to try to sell that stand, I would need to say, like, it's missing a piece. Oh, yeah. And then somebody might not want to pay the full price for that stand because it's missing a piece. But that was Amazon's fault. All right. So see if the condition of the item changes what you would pay for it. I would pay a little bit more for certain types of items if they were like new. And I would also want to pay less if the kit was open, because who knows what they've done with the things in the kit.
Yeah.
And there's lots of other kinds of things you could buy on cross-stitch items you could buy that like fabric and things, like you would hope it would be new. Is it serged? Is it the right size? Does it say like was measured before it was dyed? Like lots of little things that you just think about, all the things you would want to know about a piece before you decide what you're going to pay for it. Or before you actually pay money for it, because those things can adjust what your like perfect item price in your head is.
Yeah.
Okay, check the seller's ratings and feedback, especially on cross-stitch items. A lot of these sellers do not sell a ton of cross-stitch, or they might sell like a mix of fiber art stuff. So check their like overall feedback with them. Go look and see like, is their store full of cross-stitch stuff? Like, do they know this stuff, or is this like
a state sales?
Yeah, not a world that they know.
Yeah.
All right. Add the item to watch list. So if you see something for sale that you're interested in, add it to your watch list. Like, especially if it's an auction item and you're not going to buy it, you're not going to bid on it today, or it's a buy it now that you think is like overpriced, add it to your watch list. Because a couple things. When something's on your watch list, a seller might send everyone, and this happens all the time, everyone who's watching the item like a 5 or 10% discount. So they may not accept like counter offers, but you might think, you know what, I would buy this if it was $10 less. And depending on the item, you might get a coupon for that. So add it to your watch list. Also, set your email notifications. So like, I have an email notification that comes in for like princess hoops. And every time one goes for sale, I get an email and I can go look and see. Then I can watch the ones I like, because I'm only really in the market anymore. I have enough of all the other sizes. This is really the only size I want, is the 12 by 5.5. So, you know, it doesn't come up that often, and one accidentally didn't bid on one, then nobody bought it. And it was really, I think this might have been like but anyway. So get email notifications, and then see if the seller is combined shipping. So it's hard in auction settings to like win auctions from the same person in a way where it would make sense. But like, I bought this from this person at auction, and then they were also selling this, and they had like 10 or 15 memorabilia that all like ended at the same time. So, and she said she combined shipping. So when I won this auction, I checked out. But then when I won this auction, I messaged her and said like, hey, I bought 2 and I know you combined shipping. And she updated the order and took the $5 shipping off.
Oh, nice.
So,
but that's like rarer because
you're not likely to buy like a bundle, like multiple things. But that's also why if somebody's selling something you really want, it's worth going in and looking at the other things they're selling. But yeah, out of 31 purchases, only one time was that something that came into effect, but it never hurts. All right, so those are my tips for finding your item. Now we're gonna talk about like tips for buying it through the buy it now, and then tips for buying it in auction, because they're a little different. So buy it now prices, like I said, they can be inflated. I cannot state enough. They can be up to or more than 50% higher than an item is really worth. Now, it may be worth that to you, and that's okay to admit, like, I'm gonna overpay on this item because I want it now.
It's my unicorn.
It's my unicorn. I don't want to wait 3 months for another one to come up, but just know that they can be inflated. Yeah. See if they allow for best offer. Now, our mom used to sell or does sell a lot of stuff on eBay. So she's the one that told me people will send in the craziest offers, just offer low. So I've started just offering like 50 or 60% of what the item's listed as, an amount that I think is fair, like, but is like more realistic, because I know they're inflated. Yeah. Now, if they allow for best offer, send them an offer that's like 40 or 50% less. Just make sure that, if they decline, that's fine, because you can send them another offer if you wait like a week and it's still for sale and it's on your watch list, so you're still getting notified that it's for sale. You can send them another offer. And also, if they counter, it's more likely that like they want to get to a price, and like, so the guy who countered my 25 with 50, like maybe I should have countered with 32 or whatever, but I was just like done. So if they counter, great. If it's declined, you can keep watching it and make another offer later. If the seller accepts your offer, you will be charged right away. So whatever you paid for, it's not like with eBay, with the auction, you pay after you win. If they accept your offer, you'll just get an email that was like, thanks for your money. So
be prepared.
Yeah, be prepared. That's with your offer.
Yeah.
Is like a real offer.
No takes backsies.
And if you want multiple items from them, like let's say you bought something, then you're like, actually I want to go also see if this other thing, message them and see if they'll combine shipping and see if, you know, like you can make a deal that way. All right, buying through auction. This is the one where I think you can get better deals than the buy it now, though, depending on if they accept counter offers. But you have to be more like on the ball about it, because like a counter, like an offer, you just place the offer and they have 48 hours to respond. And if they counter, you have 48 hours to respond to their counter. But with an auction, you kind of need to be like,
yeah,
this is one where I would definitely have the app on your phone. Okay, so don't bid right away. Even if you see it and you're like, oh, that's the perfect price, do not bid right away. Just set an alarm on your phone. I like will make an alarm on my phone and I will set it, I will name it Cottage Garden Fairy or Christmas Elegance or Princess Soup. Like name it so that when it goes off, you're not like, that's weird. Now I have found that the auctions that end early in the morning on the weekends and early in the morning in general tend to have lower prices because people just like are not getting up for them. So I have set an alarm for a 7 o'clock auction and gotten a very good deal because I just don't think people were like awake. All right, before you bid, so you set your alarm. Set your alarm for like 10 minutes before the auction ends, 15 minutes before the auction ends. Have a note somewhere, this was my max price, and then just double check. It might be that now the item is way past your max price and you can just, you're not even gonna participate. But if it's lower, now you know to be vigilant and go into the auction, but do not bid yet still. Just keep in mind what your max.
Don't bid.
Don't bid. Just know.
Okay.
Okay. My max price on this pattern is $19 with shipping and taxes. That makes it $25. Because remember, your max price has to include your shipping and your taxes. So like, if you don't want to go above $25 for a pattern, and that includes everything, you're like, okay, so I'm not going to bid more than 19. And so if people are at 18, I'm not bidding more than 19. Like I'm not going to get sucked into bidding too much. All right. So you don't bid right away. Keep in mind your personal maximum. Write it down if you need to. And then when the bid gets close to the end and it gets down to 60 seconds, you're still not bidding. But open up the bid thing, but you're still not bidding.
You're still not bidding.
And there'll be a little counter. When it gets to 30 seconds and the window's open and it says 30, 29, 28, you're still not bidding because you're not going to bid more than your personal maximum. So it's 39, 20, or 30, 29, 28, 27. Now you have two options. If you think I'm going to make a bid and then somebody might go above me and then I really want this item, fine, but that's still not in your best interest to do because as soon as you bid it, everyone else will be alerted that you bid and then they'll know, they'll have time to go in and increase theirs and all you're doing is driving up the price.
Yeah.
If you know your personal maximum bid, then you can put that number in and you can hit bid at 3 or 4 seconds and either you win it or you didn't win it, but you will not pay more than you personally wanted to pay.
That is smart. That is a lot of work. You better want that pattern.
I don't find it to be that much work because really I'm just like sitting in my house and watching Flosstube. My children are like running around like insane maniacs. And I'm just like sitting on my phone going 29, 28, 27, 4, 5, 4. Wait.
Yeah, but like if I'm in the middle of a meeting, I'm not going to be able to do that.
I run my own company.
That's true.
I mean, I don't like have like, not in a fancy way. I am my own boss. I'm a travel writer, so I write on my own.
Fancy sometimes.
I'm like that blogger that like is like in their, you know, pajamas with potato chips, but usually at a Starbucks actually. In my pajamas, but at a Starbucks. All right, so, but that's how you can make sure you get the maximum price that you would willing to pay. You don't go over and you don't actually artificially inflate the value of the bid. I've accidentally done that in the beginning where like, oh, now people just know that that's what you're willing to pay. So you really got to pay at the last minute. Now, let's say there was an hour left, or let's say the auction ended at like 4 a.m. You could go ahead and put your max bid in at the last possible moment where you could do it, but just know that there's risk that then you're going to end up paying more than you would have needed to pay.
But it would eliminate the going back in to up your own and messing up
if that was your
budget.
last, if you're like, but it would give somebody the ability to like,
counter.
Yeah, say like, oh, well, her max is 30 and my max is 31, so I'll just put in 31.
Yeah.
Now, the bidding is done by something called proxy bidding. So it's not going, like, let's say you say this pattern, $19 is the most you want to pay, and it's currently sitting at $7.50. It's not going to change the prices to $19. If you're the first bidder, the price will stay at the rate that it was. And there's a lot. I think we're having problems with space, but anyway, there's a lot of auctions. I hope this is like, makes sense, but if it doesn't, I'll insert something. So there's a lot of auctions where I'm the only bidder. So I will still only pay the lowest amount. But then if somebody comes in and they say their highest they're going to pay is 8, it will move you 50 cents above them. So all of a sudden it'll move you to 8.50.
Okay.
But it won't move you to 19.
Okay.
But if somebody says their highest price is 20 and your highest price is 19, they'll pay 19.50. Yeah. But and so you might be like, oh, one more dollar would have been it. But they might have said their highest price was 50. Because they might be just determined to get it no matter what. So you really got to know what your internal compass is telling you, and like that's all you can really go off of. But hopefully you've done enough research and you've thought about the value of the item to you. And these are mostly for like used items.
That is the scariest part to me about an auction scenario is what will make me go over my limit. This is why I don't gamble. What will make me be like, oh, but it's $5 more.
Yeah, no, but that's why if your strategy is like, I'm just going to place my bet at the last possible moment I could place it. Hopefully it's the last possible moment of the auction. And I'm going to place my personal maximum and I'm going to walk away. Because eBay will email you, you're not the highest bidder anymore. And you have to be like, and that's why it's hard to sit there with a couple hours. Whereas like, when I won these 2 patterns, there was a couple others that I bid on that went for lower than their like market rates, but higher than I was willing to pay. And I'm very happy I didn't pay more than I was willing to pay just because they would have been cheaper than one of those was another one of those is on the most expensive list. And I didn't, and it went for so low, but whatever. Anyway, okay. So after the auction ends, if you're in the app or if you're on the website, you'll be like, did I win? Did I win? Did I win? If you're like, have walked away, you'll get an email a few minutes later. But you can just refresh because it'll change to like figuring out who won. And you just refresh and it'll be like, oh, you won or you didn't win. If you won, pay right away because as like buyers, you get rated too. And that rating can help people doing like buy it nows and stuff decide if they want to deal with you. And also it's just better just to like pay for it right away. No, like I'm not bidding for things I can't pay for in the next, like right now. If the seller has multiple items for sale or multiple auctions, you might like go in and see if any of those other ones are things you also want and also have done this much diligence on. Don't just start like spending money on other things. It just is because sometimes like lots of patterns or lots of, not lots, but like multiple patterns or multiple like types of things will go up at once. You might want to know that. And if they combine shipping and you did happen to buy multiple things through auction from the same person, message them. And then, you know, they'll send it. eBay has really good tracking. If you use the shop app, the shop app will update when your item from eBay has gone out. I've never gotten anything from an eBay seller like weirdly late or anything because they're so dependent on feedback. Like for feedback for an eBay seller, 99.7 is considered like the lowest you should ever be. So 99.6% feedback like is considered like don't buy from them.
Really?
So they take their stuff really seriously. Now it doesn't always come in like the most beautiful packaging. Like things can come like, I guess I shouldn't. It should come like this. It doesn't actually go to my address. So like this is what was keeping my Mirabilia pattern safe. Like it's not exactly as pretty as shipping you might get from like the Stitch Me or something, but like it serves the purpose and you're buying things you really can't buy other places.
This is the secondary market. They're not trying to impress you anymore.
Now, my only tips for buying it through the mixed auction where it's like buy it now / auction is. I did lose one time on an item that I wanted to buy and I bought the next time it came up, I ended up spending more money because I didn't just take the buy it now option, but it's a risk. Do you wait for the auction? And hope nobody else does the buy it now and hope the auction price is lower? You just never know. After the auction, once you have your piece, really inspect it. I probably should have tried to return the pattern that I think is counterfeit, but I just like, The seller was in Oklahoma, so I felt like whoever had it wasn't like some mastermind, like counterfeiter. I mean, they could have been, but it just felt like they had bought it, didn't know, and I just didn't want to deal with like making their life bad about it. So, but if you did get something that's like totally not as described or whatever, because the problem is I looked and I'm like, oh, the pictures are right. I bought something I shouldn't have bought, which is different than it came. Like if it comes and it's not what you bought, not the description.
Yeah.
Then you can report it through eBay and work with the seller to try to get your money refunded and see. And then if they don't work out, you can escalate it. I've never had to do that. But I think that's also pretty good. Like in 31 sales, I've only been disappointed one time, and it was really a buyer beware scenario. Not like, I don't think the seller was trying to scam me. I think they just didn't know what they had wasn't legit either. All right. If your seller has like multiple items that you like, you can save that seller, and then you'll get email updates from eBay that's like, check out your frequent sellers, and you can go in and see, like, especially if it's like someone who does a lot of like estate sales and stuff, they might have interesting things. And then if you lost the bid for the auction, set your email notification so that you're getting notified the next time and every time that type of item comes up. And I even like getting, even once I have something, if I have a one-off, I still like getting notified when other ones go for sale and seeing what those prices are.
You want to know if you got a good deal, bad deal? Yeah, okay.
I mean, my problem is I usually get a very good deal on the individual item, but I tend to buy more items than I need to buy. But each one of them was usually a pretty good deal. If I decided to destash it all, I probably would make money. Yeah. But I'm not going to destash it all is the issue.
But you're probably not going to stitch it all either. You got to...
yeah, the Mirabilia stuff is like...
Focus.
I have the Mirabilias for the most part. There's only one or two out there that I like really want to have, because I want the ones that I could potentially want to stitch. But there's 200 Mirabilias and I want to stitch not 200 of them. Yeah. I want to stitch 20 of them and probably will stitch 10 of them. Yeah. You know, so.
Well, I realized by watching Flosstube that buying and collecting charts is a very different hobby than cross stitch.
Oh, totally. And actually,
they coincide, but they are different things.
Part of why I like to show the vintage is like, I'm not collecting vintage hoops to have like a pretty collection of them, even though I like having them. I genuinely enjoy stitching with them, and I like seeing other people stitch with them. Yeah. Like one time, Tiger Lily shared a picture. Carrie from Tiger Lily shared a picture, and she was using an oval princess hoop. It might have been a different size than mine, but like it was fun for me to see that. Yeah. But yeah, like there are people who just want the vintage hoops because they're vintage hoops. Because it's collection. And that makes sense more to me than buying out of print patterns to sit around. If you know, I wouldn't buy a pattern I didn't think I was ever going to stitch.
But some people do.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's all interesting. And if you want to know how much people spend on patterns they may never stitch, definitely check out our last video. Our last extra.
Yeah.
Extra that was one of the most expensive cross stitch patterns. Because we just recorded an hour ago. We just changed clothes so that we wouldn't look insane.
Not weird.
Well, you know, it's like, but, you know. So anything you want to add about eBay?
It's a whole new world. That was a lot of great information. I like that it's a very wait, watch, learn, and then act, because when I'm shopping, I'm always like, add to cart, add to cart.
You're very much like I need this now.
I need this now. And so it's good to know that, okay, if I'm going to do this, it's going to take some time and get your research done.
And for you, this isn't a service I can provide you, but for you, if there's ever anything you wanted, instead of going to eBay yourself and like finding out that there is one for sale and then not having it instantly, you can just be like, I would like this. When you find it, I'll cash up you. Yeah. And I can do the waiting for you. Oh. But I can't do that for you. I'm sorry. Yay. Sorry. Only sisters.
But only sister. She's a great sister. Yeah, because it would stress me.
It was. No. If Allison tells me she wants a pattern, I know she already has bought it. She's gonna have it. She does it. She's a vintage.
I told her yesterday I wanted to do a model stitch for her, and I am 15% through it.
Which is great. It's great. It's just not. Sometimes I have to still be like, "What are we doing for the channel?" Like this is. I'll be like, okay, well, we're gonna do this like this, but here's another thing you can focus that energy on right now, because
just do this now.
Because I am currently covered in a child's diaper and can't stop what I'm doing to get you this. So why don't you do this? We're just different, but that's what's nice about doing this with your sister.
Yep.
All right, so if you have any horror stories or you got scammed on eBay, I don't know if mine really counts as a scam. I don't actually think it counts as a scam. It just counts as like I made a stupid purchase.
I think we both had that. And mine came from Etsy, and it was it
ended up being fine. But
it was fine, but it's just, you just never know.
But if you had like a horror story buying from eBay, or if you have any tips about buying from eBay, leave it in the comments. If you made it this far, leave an emoji of and now I'm like flashing all the emojis through my head. I can't think of a single emoji. Oh no. Leave a green heart for cash money.
Cash money.
And that'll be our secret language that you made it this far.
We should do a little shopping cart.
This should be pretty easy to edit because I don't have to put in a ton of stuff. But I don't know how long it is because it's been chopped up.
I know, kept pausing.
So many little pieces. But yeah. So any questions about shopping on eBay, any horror stories, any scams, whatever, leave it in the comments. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. It's really fun for us to know that you're going to come back and see us in the future. And then that will put our videos in your subscription feed. Yeah. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, because that really does make me feel good when I look at them.
It does.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.